Bros Talking Soccer podcast. My name is Dave Knittel, here with my two brothers to talk about what's happening in American and European soccer. Christian, hello. How are you doing?
Hello. I'm fine, but I'm not going to answer that question because you're going to ask me again later. And
hello.
And you look like you're about to lose breath with how you do the intro, like the intro there.
I know. It's fun, you know.
Okay.
It's always fun to do things and mix it up and all that. Matthew, hello.
Hello.
All right. So I guess technically we don't need to do those hellos anymore because with StreamYard we have our names up there. But I still like to say hello and check in with you guys and see how you guys are doing. If you are watching live on YouTube, please feel free to say hello, interact with us as we go along here. We have the comment section up and we will chat with you as best we can. Christian, you ready to get going? Do you have our trivia question?
I obviously have the trivia question. I am always prepared.
BP, always be prepared. Matthew, are you just raring to go? You bringing the energy?
Yeah, I'm excited. I don't know if it's my internet, but you guys are a little jumpy. You sound like robots a little bit, but I kind of like it, so I'm just going to roll with it.
Well, Dave's really delayed when he talks. You see him move like 5 seconds later, and you sound normal to me.
Okay. Do I sound normal?
Okay.
Yeah, you both sound normal and you're answering quickly. It's just your video's delayed.
That's fine. We're just going to have to deal with it. I'm at a hotel in Portland, and so the internet is...
Land of books.
Is what it is. Yes. Yeah. I mean, I can check my internet speeds real quick. As well do that, but I don't think it's really going to matter because I'm stuck with whatever it is anyways. No. Whoa. Okay. Damn, this internet is fast as hell. I should not be delayed, but it's weird that I am. Okay. It is what it is. All right, we're gonna jump into things. Matthew, do you know what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. I just wanted to make sure because we didn't.
I always know what I'm talking about. I'm a genius, Dave.
Okay. All right. We ready to get things going?
Yes.
Welcome to episode 136 of the Bros Talking Soccer podcast. My name is Dave Knittel, and this podcast is where three brothers talk about what's happening in American European soccer. I'm mixing up when I say things and all of that, and so I'm already confusing myself. My name is Dave Knittel, the eldest Knittel brother. Christian, middle Knittel, hello. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, Dave. Couldn't be any better. You know, the Union and Liverpool are just flying right now in everything. It's just the best time to be a fan of both of those teams, and everything else is just going great. Labor Day weekend, extra days off of work, but we're back to work here, so it's not really a day off of work.
No days off for Bros Talking Soccer. Very true. Matthew, little Knittel, hello. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, David. Thank you for asking. I was in Austin for the long weekend, Austin and Fredericksburg, Texas, which every time I've told someone I was in Fredericksburg, they have asked Virginia, and I say nope. So that's been fun, though. It was a good weekend. Hey, Dave, how's your weekend?
My weekend is good. I am still in Portland until tomorrow, so this is going to be one long podcast again because I'm on vacation and don't have a ton of time to edit. I don't want to subject my wife to all of that and me spending hours editing, so this is going to be one long stream.
Hey, also, Dave, isn't every day a weekend for you?
Kind of, yeah. Yeah, everything just blends together. But before we move on, we are a part of the Big Heads Media Network. Go to bigheadsmedia.com for tons of podcasts. Christian, what is our trivia question this week?
Well, the trivia question this week is going to be MLS related, and it's going to be, which of these three players had the most goals and assists in their first 50 games? Vela, Ibrahimovic, or Josef Martinez?
All right, I like it.
Yep, think on that, and then I'm going to pass it to Matt so that Dave stops talking, and I'm just going to really cut him off there. I don't want him involved anymore. So we're going to move over to Matt for Matt's Megs.
Thank you, Christian. Lovely introduction there. Welcome, everyone, to Matt's Megs. I'm sure you are very excited. Dave did not get to talk there. So, like all weeks recently, we are talking about Manchester City and Liverpool Football Club. And kind of just what's happened in this last week. I guess we'll start with the Liverpool topic. I forget which one I started with last week, but let's just start little controversy here, and we'll work our way to big controversy as we talk later. But little controversy, like little Knittel. All right, so Sadio Mane. Which one do you guys prefer?
Sadio, because
I like Studio.
Yeah, but Sadio is
Studio Mane, he's releasing an album next week. You guys can all check it out. No, but he had a little bit of a temper tantrum this weekend where he was yelling at Mo Salah, yelling at the entire bench. The training staff was trying to calm him down. He calmed down eventually, but he went through a little public tantrum. Dave, I'll start with you since you were silenced before. What do you make of his little fit? And how big of a deal is it?
Not a big deal whatsoever. I mean, this happens with any teams. They're passionate. You get into fights with your brothers, with your best of friends. And so getting into these little arguments and showing passion, I don't have any problems with it. If something lingers and festers, obviously there's an issue, but I think he was well within his rights to freak out. I was sitting here yelling at the television because Mo Salah didn't pass him the ball when he absolutely 100% should have. And so I'm completely fine with it. Klopp came out and said they were fine. I think either Sadio or Mo came out and said they were fine. And so I don't have any issues with it.
Christian.
Well, I think the best part of this is James Milner's tweet, and I don't know if either of you saw it, but it actually had me rolling on the floor laughing. He said, everyone's blowing this out of proportion. Mane is really just upset that they didn't put me on the field. Because he was sitting on the bench next to him, and he was the one trying to calm him down. And so he said, yeah, no, he's mad that I didn't get subbed on. So that was hilarious. Henderson, Klopp, everyone has said that this is not a big deal. Mane was just upset about that one situation. I could read his lips where he just pretty much yelled, he never fucking passes the ball, which was just really funny to see on live TV, them zooming in on him and that happening. But it's not a big deal. These are two elite players right now in world soccer, and they both want to be playing at the top level. They want to get goals as much as possible. And Salah was selfish on that play, and we see it numerous times with him. He always does the little cutback to try and free himself up instead of maybe playing the easier option. But I guess did Mane score in that game? No, he didn't. But I guess Salah also is trying to go for the golden boot like he always does. So, and that's just a part of his game. And that's always going to be the case. So I think both of them respect each other enough, and they are friends enough outside of soccer. It seems on the field, they obviously have this little chemistry issue that we've seen in the past couple of years. We've seen it a little bit. They get a little bit jealous of each other, but I do not think it's a big deal.
Yeah, I don't think it's too big of a deal. The fact that it's just like public, it just makes it seem worse. Like, I'm sure there are crazy arguments in locker rooms that happen for every team that we never really get to see. But just the fact that he had this outburst like on the field still, I think that's just kind of why we're talking about it. And it also would be a bigger problem if Liverpool, weren't doing well. But I mean, coming off a Champions League victory, they ended last season on, what was it like? They won like 14 straight games to end the year.
Well, this was 13 straight.
Yeah.
This was 13 straight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and their only other loss was like penalty kicks against Man City in the Community Shield and like a quotation competitive match. Like, that's their only time recently. So I don't think it's really affecting their play, and that's the only thing we should really be caring about. Yeah. So it's I don't see any problem with this. Do you think Salah should do, or whose side are you taking? I think you both
Sadio.
Mane.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Salah needs to make the right soccer play.
I'm going to agree with that one.
Okay. Moving on. I agree with you guys. All right, now let's go. Big controversy, and we're going a little conspiracy theory here.
Oh yeah, bring it on.
Bring on conspiracy theories. So, do you guys think they are bribing UEFA or FIFA, for sanctions and for their Champions League groups as of late? Manchester City, because in their last, I would say, 3 Champions League campaigns, they have ended up getting like the easiest groups. Christian, do you follow this conspiracy theory? Because I am all for it if it's real.
Well, I obviously believe it because it's Man City. It has to be true. And I can only imagine that this is happening with the amount of money that club has. Now, obviously, I do not believe this. It could obviously happen. It'd be ridiculous if it's happening. But it's really hard to believe that would be going on and being pushed under the rug with so many people watching this. Would it
really be that hard to believe?
Yes.
Yes, I think it would absolutely be, because Real Madrid could have been doing this. PSG could have been doing this. Why would Man City be the one team that's getting away with this? Especially with English teams, they're under extreme pressure and being watched at all times. I think this is ridiculous, but it does come across as being way too easy of a group for them, considering some of the other groups that are out there.
Dave, what do you think of this conspiracy theory?
As much fun as it is to speculate on this conspiracy theory, there's no way this is happening with all the scrutiny that FIFA is under now after the scandal. Hey, shout out, tying in the whole Portland theme. I bought a book at a bookstore up here about the red card. What do you remember the name of the book? I can't remember the name of it, but it's the red.
Your
card.
life sounds so interesting.
I know. I just can't believe what you're up to there.
It's about the FIFA scandal and yeah, how that happens. It's over here. I'll have it. I'll look it up. But there's no way that anyone would be brazen and dumb enough to do this while they're under all of this scrutiny. But to circle back on the discussion, red card, how the U.S. blew the whistle on the world's biggest sports scandal. So I'm really excited to read this book because I'm a loser and I love the intersection of soccer and crime and all of that. So yeah, there's no way that Man City is actually following through and bribing official stuff. So that's the moral of this story.
I feel like we should hire Kristen for Dave just to like fact check us and
absolutely
items from around the room. Yeah, you know, like Dave is like he's trying to record and his wife in the background, if you're watching on YouTube, is going to fetch the book for him like while she's listening.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
So if we all lived in Philadelphia, would she be able to do that for all of us? Or?
Yep, she's already agreed to that. Yep,
okay.
About this, and so yeah.
Okay.
Don't worry about it. You'll be a fact check.
Okay. Anything else you guys want to add on this?
No, I'm good.
Nope.
Okay. And last thing, I just want to touch on the Champions League groups for us. How do you guys feel about?
That's my whole section.
Just stepping on Christmas preparation.
Do you want to talk? Do you want to talk about Laporte being out? Maybe.
How long is he out for? I didn't even look that up.
I'm pretty sure he tore his ACL. I thought I saw that.
Just wild speculation. Just throwing out
on our Kristen, fact check this. Yeah, so Christian was about 3 minutes too late in renewing our NBC Gold membership, so I didn't see the actual injury, but I saw Fernandinho come on. So if Christian could just be, on his game a little bit, I feel like I would know better of what happened to Laporte, but I didn't look up the video, and I couldn't watch the first 40 minutes, so I missed the goal, Kevin De Bruyne's goal. So wow, what do I even know about soccer?
So for all of you who are wondering, yes, I did pay for our NBC Gold membership, and apparently it's all my fault that we didn't renew it.
Yeah,
but everyone else has.
We pay you back, though. It's not like you're just fronting it. Let's just make that clear.
Well, 100% I'm fronting it. That's the definition of fronting the money.
Well, we pay you back, though. You're not just putting out the money and we're just taking it from you.
Sometimes.
But yes, you are fronting it.
There's no proof of this.
But you were still 4 weeks late.
Yeah.
Who cares? Liverpool have been on TV every week. I don't care.
All right. So just circling back on Laporte, it doesn't look like at time of recording on Monday, September 2nd, an official diagnosis hasn't been issued, but he looks like he's going to be out, quote, for a while. So that's what it sounds like. Is that an issue?
So I would say no, just because we have Fernandinho, and I was texting you guys this weekend. Fernandinho is so good. I don't know how he just steps in first game of the season and perfectly fine, plays center back perfectly, saved a goal, just played the position perfectly. So good at advancing the ball. I think that's what Laporte did really well as a center back, is his direct passes, and Fernandinho came in and was just skipping lines with his passes, basically playing as he did as a 6, but as a center back. So I think we'll be fine.
All right, fair enough.
What do you guys think?
I think that I feel like he's a very, very good player, and I think he can pretty much fill in any position right now. He is getting older, but to play as a center back, he's almost playing like Mascherano used to do, where he's a holding mid that's playing a role where he'll be able to advance the ball. Was a question about Fernandinho or about the Laporte injury? You just said, what do you think?
I don't know. I was asked this question. I would.
Okay.
Do you think Man City will be okay? I think that was the original question.
Yes, I think they're going to be fine.
Okay.
I think that their depth is definitely affected with Sane and Laporte out, but they're still the best team.
Yeah, but how old is Fernandinho now? 35, something like that?
Yeah.
Are you going to rely on him avoiding any sort of major injury or even just a little injury that could keep him out for a few weeks? I mean, if he goes down, then I think you're in a serious problem. So with how many games they have from the Champions League starting.
What's going on with John Stones?
He's bad at soccer.
He's not bad at it.
No, he's injured right now.
I did not know that.
I thought he was just bad.
Yeah. I don't know what's wrong, but
all right. Just facts. You guys come here for the facts. So listeners, left and right with all kinds of useful info.
All right. So my section was hijacked. I think we're just going to wrap this one up. No music. I think so. How do we end this? This is the end of Matt's Megs, and we'll go over to Christian. Oh,
or we're going to do the no,
stadium
that's not right.
Stadium scene plug. There we go.
I know. Okay. I under know is what I just said, but it's fine.
Under know. Okay.
Check out our friends at Stadium Scene. If you're going to any stadium for any sport in the U.S. or Canada, they have information on where to park, what to do around the stadium, what events are happening in the area, what bars and restaurants to visit, and all that good stuff. Matt, what else do they have?
Well, they also partner with content creators like ourselves and offer you things like podcasts like this, blog posts, YouTube videos, all that great stuff. And it's not just soccer, all sports North America. Check them out, stadiumscene.tv. They're great.
Now back to Christian for Christian's Corner.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Christian's Corner. As if you're watching on YouTube, you could see it right here. Big. If you're not, that now you know because I said it. All right, so we're going to jump into the Champions League draw. The group stage draw happened this week, and it's very, very interesting. We got some good groups. So I think I'm just going to go group by group and get your guys' opinions on what's going to happen in this one. So let's start with Group A. It'll be Club, I'm not sure, is it Bruges or is it actually pronounced Brugge? Because I've heard that.
I mean, that's how you would pronounce it, I think, in Belgium. So
okay.
Bruges pronounce it in
Galatasaray, PSG, and Real Madrid. So, Matt, I'll jump to you first. Who are the two teams that are advancing?
Okay, so I'm going to say Real Madrid is going to advance in this one, and I will say PSG will also advance in this one. Wild guess there.
All right, so I guess we'll do what order do you think they're going to finish in and who gets the Europa League spot as well?
So transfer deadline day,
it's over.
It's over? Okay.
Yep.
Neymar's still at PSG.
Correct.
Okay, so I have faith they're going to do pretty well. I mean, every time they've gotten knocked out in this competition, he's been hurt. He hasn't gotten knocked out at PSG yet with him playing. So I think they are one of the favorites. I mean, I know they're probably one of the betting favorites anyways, but I really think they are one of the 3 teams to 5 teams that could win it. So I have them coming in first, then Madrid, then Galatasaray, and then Club Brugge.
Okay. That's a very interesting order. Probably what you'd expect. Dave, what do you think?
I'll flip the order. I'll say Madrid first, PSG second, and then Galatasaray third, and Bruges fourth. I know that PSG was very active in the last, the last day of the transfer window. I know they picked up Navas. Did they sign him on a loan?
No, they signed him for $13 million.
Okay, and then Areola went the other way to Madrid, right? But he
correct. They also signed Sergio Rico from Fulham, who's a former Sevilla goalkeeper.
Yeah, okay. But I was more talking about impacting because a lot of times, don't they restrict on if they can play against the home club? Like, I don't know if Areola will play against PSG, but Courtois might be starting anyway. So
I don't really think that would be a big deal.
Okay, I was more concerned about Navas playing. So with that out of the way, yeah, I would say I'm still going to say Madrid first and then PSG second.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'm gonna agree with Dave that PSG are going to finish second behind Real Madrid. Matt did touch on Neymar being injured every time PSG have gotten knocked out, but what's to say that he's going to be healthy again? He's been injured every single year, so can't really say that he's not going to be. I don't think that that's going to be a big difference maker in the group stage, but it'll be interesting if they finish second, what team they get drawn with in the round of 16, which could be a big difference maker. I am going to also say Galatasaray finish in the Europa League spot and Club Brugge finish last. Anything else you want to touch on in Group A?
Hopefully Ethan Horvath gets some time for Club Brugge, because I know he's not been getting time. So just speaking from an American fan perspective, that's the only other thing I want to add.
That would be big. All right, so we're going to move over to Group B. We've got Bayern Munich. I think this is Red Star. I'm not even going to try and pronounce it. This is Olympiacos and Tottenham Hotspur. Dave, what's happening in this group?
So Spurs and who was the other big team you said? Bayern, yeah. They're going through. Bayern first, Spurs second. Oh, man. I want to say I've been somewhat impressed with Red Star. I mean, teams have struggled going to, where are they? Serbia? Belgrade? Where is Belgrade? I think where they've struggled going to wherever Belgrade is, and on the road. I know Liverpool lost. I can't remember if it was Napoli or PSG last year struggled, and so I wouldn't be shocked to see them come through in third out of this group and kind of have the shock, and then Olympiacos coming through in fourth. So that's what I'm going to say. Nice.
And you said Spurs and Bayern. Which one?
Bayern first. Bayern first. Spurs second.
All right, Matt. What do you think's happening in this group?
So I'll say Bayern first, Tottenham second. And then I'm going to say Olympiacos third. I know you were saying Red Star last year with how well they played at home against these top-end teams. On the road, they got absolutely destroyed by all three teams. And it was, so I don't know if it was last year they were just really up for it because, having that crazy group of death, they really got up for those games at home. But I don't see the talent really on their team. I think Olympiacos might be better. I have them coming in third in the Europa League spot.
Yeah, I secretly was hoping that Liverpool would get Olympiacos because it was the memories of 2004 when Steven Gerrard scored that long-range goal, and that would have been cool to see them again. But I think that this is easy to pick the two teams that are going through. Bayern first, Tottenham second. I think that could be an interesting matchup to see who can finish first, but I do trust Bayern's quality over Tottenham's right now. And I think I am also going to go with Red Star. Last year, they played against three very, very powerful teams in Napoli, Liverpool, and PSG. They've got two of them again with Tottenham and Bayern, but Olympiacos is more on their level. And I don't think they're going to get blown out on the road like they did last year. I think they probably learned a little bit more from those experiences, and this year will be a little bit closer. So I'm going with Red Star finishes second and Olympiacos in last. Anything else to add on this group?
Nope.
All right, Group C. We've got Atalanta, Dinamo Zagreb, wow, I don't know why I just said that. It's Man City, Matt's team, and Shakhtar Donetsk. David? Nope. Matthew, I'm going to start with you on this one because it's Man City's group, and also it's your turn. So go ahead.
Yeah, so I think City did end up getting the the best team in the fourth pot. Is that how you say that?
With Atalanta?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so I have them coming in second. I mean, I have City pretty much handling this group pretty well. I think the hardest thing is travel that they're going to have. But, I mean, Shakhtar has given us problems in the past. They tend to play well, it seems like, against English teams for whatever reason. But I just think the way that Pep's kind of has City, we should be fine. I think we're going to win 5 of the games, maybe draw 1, maybe a shock loss. But I think no matter what, we're going through in first. And then the rest of the games are going to be so interesting. I just know Atalanta had such a good year last year. And Zapata, the striker, with the goals he scores, I think they probably are going to come through in second.
Okay. And who finishes third?
Oh, Shakhtar, I would say.
Okay. Dave?
Yeah, I agree with Matt, too. I mean, City, I don't know if there's anything else related to say. It'll be really interesting for the battle for second. I think it's between Shakhtar and Atalanta. I don't know much about Zagreb, but I have them coming through in fourth. And like Matt said, I know Atalanta is on the rise in Serie A, and they've done some really interesting things. So I'm going to have them come through in second. And then Shakhtar, even though they have a ton of experience and are generally, the best team coming out of the Ukraine, I'm going to have them come through in third.
All right, and this is going to be the first time I have a different top two than either of you. I am going to say Man City, is going to be the team that I do agree with you guys.
All right. We're going to go super bold there.
They are going to finish it first, possibly finishing on 18 points. I think at least 16 points are coming from this group. And then I'm going Shakhtar Donetsk finishes second. They are the more experienced team. They've been in the league, the Champions League, far more than Atalanta, who have been in it 0 times. So this is a first experience for them. I think it's a different animal with now they have Europe along with Serie A. I don't know if they're going to be up for it yet. I think they're arguably a more talented team, but the experience really does make a difference in this competition. So Atalanta finishes third and Zagreb finishes fourth. Anything else you want to add about this group?
Nope.
All right, Group D it is. Atletico Madrid, Bayer Leverkusen, Juventus, and Lokomotiv Moscow. Dave, what's happening in this one?
So Juve and Atletico are the two favorites. Leverkusen can make some noise, but I just don't think that they really have enough. I mean, Juve and Atletico are just so well drilled defensively. They've gone deep in the Champions League, both of them. Neither of them have won, but they've both gone deep in recent years. I just have faith that they're going to come through. I'm going to give a slight edge to Atletico here. Put them in first and Juve in second. Juve under Maurizio Sarri, new manager. Maybe they have a little bit of shakiness. They still come through the group, but maybe aren't as stable as Atletico. Leverkusen third, and then Lokomotiv Moscow in fourth.
All right, Matt, what do you think's happening here?
Yeah, I have like the way you read it. Juve coming in first, Atletico coming in second, Leverkusen and Lokomotiv. I think it's pretty clear, just like the difference in level each stage. I think Atletico and Juve, I think, are both of the teams that could have a shot at winning it. But I think they're just so far ahead of Leverkusen, who is still probably a little bit ahead of Lokomotiv Moscow. So I have that as my group, and that's it.
Okay, and I'm done now. All right. So, wait, which one did you have first?
Strong ending.
Juve.
You had Juve first? Okay. Yeah, I'm going to agree with Dave that Atletico finishes first. I really like what they did in the summer window. They put a lot of signings into that team, and they have a lot more depth than we've seen previously. They honestly, right now, might be considered La Liga's favorites just by the way other teams are playing in La Liga right now. And obviously, Messi being out has made a huge difference. And when he comes back, Barcelona are a completely different team. But they look very, very poor. And Real Madrid have not started well either. Atletico, arguably, are a top 3 to 5 team in the world right now. Juventus are in that discussion as well. But I think Atletico has a slight advantage. Bayer Leverkusen definitely finishes third. I'm expecting them to either get a win or a draw at home against Juventus is my guess, and cause some problems there in the group. But yeah, I just don't see them getting through it in anywhere other than the Europa League spot and Lokomotiv Moscow finishing last. Anything else you have to add on this one?
Nope.
All right. Group E it is. We got Genk, Liverpool, Napoli, and Salzburg. Matthew, we're on you now. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
So Liverpool and Napoli had that great matchup last year. I still think Liverpool is slightly favored. I think that what was the score of their games last year?
1-0 in both.
They each won once, right?
1-0.
Yeah, I think Liverpool, just with the confidence coming off a Champions League victory, I think they're going to be favored over Napoli. I mean, Napoli, they pushed Juve pretty far last year, right? And have Ancelotti. Yeah, I mean, obviously they're not the greatest team. I think they're good. I think they're good enough to push Liverpool. Liverpool slip up, but I just don't see that happening. But I have them having 2 close games. So yeah, Liverpool, Napoli, and then I guess I go with Salzburg in the Europa League spot. I don't know too much about Salzburg or
Jesse Mark.
Genk.
He's the manager at Salzburg.
Oh,
Marca.
yeah.
Marca.
I think he won like his first 5 matches, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I do know something about one of those teams.
Good for you. All right, Dave, what do you think's happening in this group?
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun watching Salzburg try to go up against Napoli and Liverpool. Salzburg has that just frenetic sort of style of play that Napoli and Liverpool both sort of employ. So those 3 matchups between those teams, or I don't know if those, I guess, 4 games or 6 games? I don't know. I can't do quick math. But whenever those teams are playing each other, I'm going to be really excited about it. I still think, the way that Liverpool, Napoli, Salzburg, and Genk. I think that's how it finishes in the group, and Salzburg drops to the Europa League. But I think it's going to be a lot of fun watching Salzburg, and especially watching Jesse Marsch, just see how he manages. But I mean, Liverpool, they won the Champions League. They've gone far. They have experience in this competition. I would be shocked if they don't come through in first out of this group. And then Napoli, again, is just way more talented. So I think they're going to come through in second.
So I know I'm a Liverpool fan, but I think Matt saying that Liverpool have a slight advantage over Napoli is not true. I think Liverpool have a much larger advantage than you think. I think Napoli are a good team, but Liverpool won the Champions League. They had 97 points in the league last year, and they are a more talented team overall. I think that they'll get through this group in first place. I think their experience of playing in Napoli last year was beneficial to them, and Ancelotti is an excellent manager. There's no doubt about that. He knows how to prepare his teams for big games, but it's going to be interesting to see these teams playing again a year later in the same exact part of this competition. And Napoli now don't have PSG to go up against. They are easily the second favorites in this group. Salzburg, I agree, are going to finish third, and Genk last. Hopefully Jesse Marsch can push Napoli a little bit more and not push Liverpool so much, because then I'll be mad at him. Anything else you want to add about this group?
Nope.
All right, So Group F. What a group this is. We've got Barcelona, Borussia Dortmund, Inter Milan, and Slavia Prague. David, what's happening in this one?
So I want to say, oh man, so it's really tough. So Barcelona is really stumbling so far coming out of the blocks. Dortmund has looked really good, and Inter,
have they,
with Antonio Conte? Who, Dortmund?
They lost 3-1 to a team playing in their first Bundesliga season.
All right, never mind. I know the first week they did well. I was on vacation. They lost 3-1 to Union Berlin.
They did.
Wow. Okay. So I take that back. So I don't know what's going to happen in this group. I think this is probably the most fun group to watch, because I don't think it's very clear cut on what's exactly going to happen from first through third. I think, we saw the video of the Slavia Prague, executive laughing when he was drawn into this group. I think they know that they're coming through. And oh man, I can't pick against Barcelona. So I think Barcelona is going to come through out of this group, stay in the Champions League. And I'm going to say Dortmund gets through in second, and then Inter under Conte. It's just a year too soon for him. And maybe next year we're having a different discussion. But this year they're going to drop to the Europa League. So that's what I think is going to happen. But I don't have a lot of confidence in that prediction.
Interesting. Okay, Matt, what do you think is happening in this group?
Yeah, like they've said, Barcelona, just like having the experience and like who Barcelona is, I want to say they're coming in first. But part of me, with how they've completely crashed out of this competition in recent years, and me just kind of want to watch Messi play on Thursday nights in the most country in the world, I'm just going to send it and say they're coming in third. I'm going to have Dortmund coming in first and Inter coming in second. Slavia Prague, that's fourth place, but it's going. Yeah, like the way Barcelona has crashed out of this competition, I think it's time to stop just assuming they're going to win, and especially how they're playing without Messi. And I think Suarez is still hurt. Doesn't Dembele get hurt as well? They're dealing with some injuries. They're aging. A lot of their core is aging. So I think this could be the year some big stuff happens there.
Yeah, at first I almost said Barcelona are going to drop out, but I just can't do it. I think with Messi coming back, he's back now. He is fully fit. They just didn't want to risk any type of relapse this past weekend. So they said after the international break, he'll be starting again. I can only see them getting through in this group, but I actually am going to say they finish second. I don't know if they have all the tools right now with the injuries they have. I'm going to have them finishing second, and that's going to cause a lot of problems. There's a lot of top teams finishing second this year. So even winning the group is really not that beneficial, other than you get a home game in the round of 16. And I really want to say...
Don't you always get a home game in the round of 16?
It was second game at home.
Oh, okay.
And then... I really want to guess Inter is going to win this group. I really like the business that they did. I like what Dortmund did as well. But I just have a weird feeling that this is the year Inter starts to announce themselves as a European contender again, not making it far in the competition, but winning their group. Anyone else have anything to add?
I do want to add, so Sal's joining us live on YouTube. He's got a good comment here. Slavia going to cause someone to drop into third by getting a shock result, whether it's a draw or beating one of these other teams. That could really, impact this group. So Slavia is not just going to get rolled over. They could decide the fate of one of these teams. So good comment there, Sal.
Oh, they'll finish last, but they can definitely be noisemakers. And my guess is it's going to be Dortmund who face that consequence. All right. Anything else to add?
No.
Okay. Group G it is. So we're going to the Benfica, Lyon, RB Leipzig, and Zenit St. Petersburg group. I forget. I think it's Matt. Yeah, it is Matt. Matt, what do you think's happening in this one?
It's tough for me because I feel like they're all like second or third place teams, like the way I'm looking at this. So,
but they can't be.
Yeah, I know. Everyone just draws every game the same score. But did Benfica replace? Who did they purchase with all that money they got from Felix?
I don't think anybody big. They probably bought a bunch of up and comers.
Yeah. So I'm gonna have Lyon coming in first in this group. They played pretty well last year against Man City. They have some talent. I watched their first game of the season. I think they put up 6 goals. So based on all that information, that deep information, I know of Lyon. I have them coming in first. I'll have RB Leipzig coming in second place. I think they should be on, the European level at this point with how they're playing in the Bundesliga, all the money they're investing. They should finally start performing. And then I'm going to have Benfica and then Zenit.
Okay. Dave, what do you think's happening in this group?
I'm going to flip the top 2 and have Leipzig coming through in first. Tyler Adams, America, just coming through in first. I'm pretty pumped about that. And so that's pretty much my sole logic behind selecting them first. Second, I'm going to say Lyon. I think that they're pretty much the closest team in the French league to PSG, and I've been impressed with what they've done over the last few years. So I'm going to have them second. Benfica, because we're going to be there and potentially see their game. So I'm going to have them coming through in third, and then Zenit in fourth because I don't know very much about them, and their fans are racist. So that's what we have coming through there.
Okay, so I am actually going to take Lyon finishing in first here, and I'm going to say Benfica finish second. I just looked it up. I don't know a lot of the players that they bought, but they bought a lot of players with the money they received the offseason. So it'll be interesting to see what they're able to do. I think it'll be cool to see them play against Lyon if we get a chance to actually see that game on October 23rd. And RB Leipzig are going to be troublemakers. I really hope that they get through. I just don't know if they're there yet. I really like Timo Werner as a player, and I wanted Liverpool to sign him very, very badly. But obviously they got Tyler Adams as well, who we're all pulling for a little bit. I think it's going to be Lyon and Benfica just with their experience in the European leagues. And then Zenit finished last, just like I think everyone else said. So
all right.
Anything else you guys want to add?
Nope.
All right, so final group here, Group H, will be Ajax, Chelsea, Lille, and Valencia. Dave, what's happening in this one?
America is happening in this one. Christian Pulisic on Chelsea. We have Sergio Dest at Ajax and Weah at Lille. So I'm pretty pumped about that. Oh, man. So Chelsea, I think, is going to come through. You know what? Actually, I'm going to say Ajax comes through in first out of this group because obviously they made the Champions League final last year. They've had a lot of lineup rotation, but they still held on to a number of their players. And so I think that experience combined with just them doing well, relatively speaking, and the fact that the Netherlands sort of wants them to do well as a league. So they'll take weeks off for them and all of that. So I'm going to have them coming through in first. I'll say Chelsea is second. I think that they just have way too much talent and are too big of a club to fall out given this group. So I'm going to put them in second. I'll put Lille in third, Timo Weah, and then Valencia in fourth because I know very little about them, though they do have a very cool logo.
Okay. Matt, what do you think's happening in this group?
Yeah, I agree with Dave with Valencia coming in last since they have little to no American presence, which is
this whole analysis.
Yeah. I'm going to have Ajax coming in first, based on last year. I know they lost two of their young, bright, up-and-coming players, but I still think a lot of their creative players are there, and some of their most important players from last year. I know De Ligt was crazy important and De Jong, but they're wingers and attacking players, and they still play the same style. I forget what game I watched with theirs, and they look exactly the same as they did last year. I have them coming in first. I have Chelsea coming in second. I think it just makes sense. I don't really have too much other explanation. I think they're a little bit better than Lille, and they're going to be up for this competition, being back in. Valencia, I don't think they have it. So, so Tim Way is going to bring them to the promised land of the Europa League.
Okay, very interesting, guys. I am going to start off by saying Valencia wins this group. I think that they are arguably the most talented team in this group. Chelsea's up there with them. Ajax sold too much quality in the offseason, and I mean, it's between Valencia and Chelsea for me and for the top of this group. I think Ajax are going to push them, but just fall short and fall into the Europa League this year. Valencia finished first, Chelsea second, Ajax third. Lille will finish in last in this group. Sorry, Timmy Weah. Anything else you want to add?
You're wrong.
Okay, but I'm not, so.
That's very wrong.
No, I don't know about Valencia.
I mean, Batman, so that's all I got to say.
And we might get to see them as well when we take our Iberian vacation. So
we might see them play at Atletico. So it'll be very interesting.
Only their little brother was invited.
Yeah.
I invited you. So I guess I'm going to wrap up Christian's Corner here. I had other topics, but that went way longer than expected. So I hope everyone enjoyed this. And we're going to head over to Dave's Domestic Dives right after this. Go ahead, Dave.
All right, not after this. We're heading right into it.
I didn't know if you were doing anything in between. So
plug will go at the end for the Big Heads Media podcast. Okay. Around at the end of the podcast, we won't have outtakes like we normally have at the end of the podcast, but we will have the plug. So we'll give you a little something extra at the end of the podcast. And also, if you guys didn't know, go listen to our past episodes. We put outtakes at the end of every episode. They are a lot of fun, and I'm cracking up when I edit the podcast, and hopefully you enjoy that. So if you didn't know that, we do that. Matthew, you were raising your hand. Do you have something you would like to say?
Yeah, Dave. So this week only, I did not check the topics that you were discussing. Are we discussing the Union and Atlanta game?
We are not, but we can if you would like.
No, I just got a text from somebody that knows I'm podcasting and would really just love their insight.
Okay.
to be known.
Okay.
He said, Atlanta scored a great team goal, but the Union crowd willed them to victory. And he really wanted the world to know exactly what happened there.
All right.
Well, now the world does know.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. The world definitely does know. And so since we're starting with that, let's just transition into it. We are going to be talking about the MLS playoff races. And so you touched on the Union there, Matt. The Union, NYCFC, and Atlanta are battling at the top of the Eastern Conference. Philadelphia has the most games played, but they are up 1 point on NYCFC, who have 2 games in hand on the Union. Atlanta, meanwhile, is 3 points back of the Union, but they have a game in hand as well. And so Atlanta and NYCFC, they're still playing at least once more. And I want to say NYCFC has 1 or 2 other tough games. They're playing New England, who's been very hot, Toronto, who's going after the playoffs, and actually the Union and NYCFC end the season playing each other. So, Christian, let's go to you first. How do you see the top of the Eastern Conference shaking out the rest of this?
Yeah, I was looking at the schedules that remain, and I felt like the NYCFC didn't have that tough of a schedule, but I think when I was looking at it, I was thinking of the early season Revs, and now that I'm realizing they play the Revolution twice to end the season, and that is not as easy as it looks in my head. It's obviously going to be very difficult. And do they play Atlanta as well or no?
They play Atlanta and San Jose.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of those are at home.
And they're all at home, though, right? Except the Union game is on the road. And they play New England home and away, right?
Yep. And then FC Dallas is their only other game that's on the road as well. But they have
that's a tough game too, actually.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's really interesting to see how this shakes out. And I think it's going to come down to the last week. And lucky for the Union, it's going to be at home in NYCFC. I think Atlanta are going to be there the whole time, obviously. That Atlanta NYCFC game is going to be huge too. Is that in the third to last week?
Yeah.
Or is it? Yeah. So NYCFC's end of the season is incredibly difficult with the last 3 weeks. And I don't know what to predict here. And I think it's going to finish. I really think it's happening. The Union finished first. I'm going with Atlanta finishing second right behind them, and NYCFC just behind them in third.
Matt, any thoughts on how the rest of the Eastern Conference shakes out? I said that really weird. How do you think the Eastern Conference, the top three, play out?
Top three, I'm gonna say NYCFC playing the top spot, just because they have 2 games in hand right now. They only have 5 losses on the year. I just have them closing out the season, maybe a little bit better than you guys are expecting. I have Union coming in second, and I think Atlanta's gonna stay third.
Yeah. So as much as I hope I'm wrong here, and I want as much as anything for the Union to win, I still ultimately think they finish in third. They have 5 games left. 2 games at home are against LAFC and NYCFC. Those are not gimme games. Those are huge games. And then the other 3 games are on the road at Red Bulls, at San Jose, and then at Columbus. The Columbus one is, no road game is easy in MLS, but that would be relatively easy. But I just can't see them picking up enough points to stay on top of the East, even though they're there. I would expect NYCFC, even though they have games in hand and it's going to be tough and they have a tough schedule, I expect them to win, Atlanta second and the Union third. And I hope to God I am wrong, but I think that's how it ultimately is going to shake out. And I hope the Union prove me wrong, obviously, because I am a Union fan. Anything else to add on the top of the conference before we talk about the bottom?
Nope.
All right, Matt.
Quick question.
Yep.
Okay, so how does the playoff system work now? Because I haven't paid attention in the last 2.
Yeah, no, it just so the top team, so the 7 teams make the playoffs. The top team gets a bye. The other 6 teams play each other in a one-off situation. So then the top 3 teams move on, and then they play the one team that's a bye. And so then it's 4 teams left, and then it's just one-offs. So the home team, higher seed, hosts the game, and then it's just one-offs. No more series anymore. It's just one-off playoff games. The winners advance. Any other questions?
Only 8 teams make the playoffs?
7 from each conference.
7 from each conference, so 14.
Oh, okay. So I missed whatever the hell you said first. Okay. Okay, that makes sense.
7 teams make the conference.
Okay, yeah, I get it now. I get it now.
All right.
Move on.
Okay, we're moving on. He's okay. Bottom of the conference, we have I guess we'll start with we have DC United in 4th, Red Bulls 5th, New England 6th, Toronto 7th, and they're all kind of clustered there. Montreal, who already has 30 games played, is 8th with 37. Orlando is 9th with 29 and 34. Do you see any movement at the bottom of the conference, Christian? Any teams getting in that you like, either Montreal or Orlando, or is this kind of how you expect it to shake out in the East?
I expect the 4 teams that are in there right now to be the 4 teams in there, but I expect to maybe move around a little bit. I would predict that the Red Bulls finish in 4th, and I'm going to take New England actually finishing in 5th with DC falling into 6th and Toronto staying in 7th.
I like that. Actually, I'm going to agree with you on that front. Matt, anything you want to add?
It doesn't look, I'm looking at the stand. It doesn't look like any of these teams are going to move up into the playoff picture right now, but I could see Orlando jumping Montreal, and that's probably about it.
Yeah, and that would just be outside of the playoffs. Now, the one thing is Toronto has enough talent that they come through in 7th. That's a brutal matchup for the team that finishes 2nd in the Eastern Conference, because I feel like Toronto has the talent where they could turn it on and really get hot. So that would be really interesting to follow. And DC, they got a big victory this weekend, but I just think that specifically New England, I wouldn't be shocked if New England jumps up and ultimately finishes 4th. So that's going to be interesting to follow there. Now, switching gears, Christian, do you have something else to add on that? Nope, you're coughing. Okay. Anything else to add on the Eastern Conference, guys?
Nope.
Switching to the Western Conference, and it honestly makes sense to just talk about the block of Western Conference teams from 2nd through 8th or potentially even 9th, and how it's all going to shake out, because Seattle Sounders right now, they're in 2nd place, 28 matches played on 46 points. The Portland Timbers are in 8th out of the playoffs with 27 matches played. They're on 40 points. If they win their game in hand, between 2nd to 8th place, there's only 3 points separating all of those teams. Matthew, I don't know if you're looking at the table right now, but what do you make of this? Who do you expect to get into the playoffs? Do you expect anyone to fall out? What do you think is going to happen the rest of the season in the Western Conference?
Yeah, so Portland, and I just know like the soccer culture there and the fans.
It was awesome, by the way, going to the game. I went to a game this week.
So, does the home field advantage make a difference in Portland? Like, is their home record much better?
They have one of the better home records. They had lost the previous two until they just beat RSL. So they are one of the better home teams in MLS.
For that reason, I feel like they can sneak in here. Dallas, I know they have the most games played at 43, and if Portland wins, I just don't see LA missing the playoffs again. Like if Ibra doesn't make the playoffs again, and they seem like they're playing at least good every game. That's probably the only MLS scoreline I follow, just because my phone notifies me every time Ibra does something. So I've been kind of following them, but I didn't realize they were already in 7th. And it's just so hard for me to imagine them not making the playoffs again. So I feel like Dallas is maybe the team. Dallas or RSL are going to be one of the teams that drop, and Portland did.
Christian, what do you think is going to happen?
Do you need me to list it in order, or do you just want me to say which teams make it?
You don't have to be in order. However you would like to approach this. And also, you don't need to scream.
I really didn't feel like I was yelling, but I'm sorry. Okay, so my guess at the end of the season is Minnesota finish second. I think that they're really, really hot right now, especially with the win at LAFC yesterday. It was insane. I think that, they're going to finish second. I'm guessing Seattle finished third. I think Earthquakes definitely stay in there. I don't know if they're fourth. I'll probably say Galaxy finish fourth. Earthquakes next. Dallas, Portland. And then I'm going to say that, Dallas or Real Salt Lake are the team that drop out at the end of the season.
Yeah, I wanted to predict the Galaxy to miss out, but just looking at the schedule, they have a pretty easy schedule the remainder of the year, so I can't see them missing out. I think it probably is FC Dallas just because they have the most games played. If LA and Portland win their games in hand, they'll jump FC Dallas, and I think that's ultimately what ends up happening. And so FC Dallas is just barely going to miss out, and the rest of the conference shakes out more or less the same. I really need to give Minnesota props. I don't think anybody expected them to do as well as they're doing, and it's absurd that they are sitting third in the West and really heating up right now and could finish second. So I want to give them props, but I expect FC Dallas to fall out. So
I just want to touch on Real Salt Lake. Just the only reason why I predicted them to fall out is their next 4 games are versus San Jose, then they're at Minnesota, at New England, and then they're home to the Galaxy. So they're 4 huge games for them coming up.
And they haven't been good on the road. I know with our quick kick picks videos, I've been noticing that they're not a good road side. So that'll be difficult for them. Anything else to add on MLS before we switch gears and talk about U.S. men's national team? Matt?
No.
Christian?
Nope.
Before we talk about the U.S. roster, there was an interesting report from The Athletic on Darlington Nagbe. So a few weeks ago, Darlington Nagbe was interviewed and asked a specific question if he's had contact with the U.S. national team and if he's been called up to recent camps or anything like that. And he has said no. He has had no contact with the U.S. national team. Recently, a report in The Athletic then said that he was called up to both the Gold Cup as an injury replacement and declined it. And then he was also called up for the September friendlies, and he declined that. Christian, what do you think about Darlington Nagbe declining these call-ups? Is this something that upsets you? Is he a big miss for the U.S., or are you okay with this?
I don't really understand it because he is the player that I kind of touched on would be perfect in our midfield. I think he's very creative. He's got the work ethic as well, and he could be a difference maker for the U.S. national team. I don't think he's an elite level midfielder, but he is a player that could fit into our starting 11 and be a little bit of a difference maker in terms of just having a different type of midfielder. I feel like we have a lot of the same just workhorse kind of players in there, and he's much more creative on the ball, and I was just hoping that we'd get more of him, but for some reason he's just continuing to reject the call-ups.
Matt, what do you think about this? Are you upset at Nagbe for this?
Well, is it because of the manager? Is it because of how someone treated him in the past? Did he go into that?
No. Well, so he hasn't even said it. He said that he hasn't had contact with U.S. Soccer, and reports are that he was called up. So I don't know what's true.
Okay, so I saw another story about this. One, if he's rejecting it, I'm sure he has a reason why he did reject it. But I've been seeing like a lot of reports recently that make it seem like everybody since Klinsmann has been horrible at communicating to players and things like that, whether it's people that have other ties to like other countries or just with the players in general. I forget who it was, but somebody was saying, yeah, like nobody's ever called me, somebody that has dual citizenship. And they were saying like, yeah, players like when a national team calls. Dave, you know the report?
Yeah, we talked about it on a previous podcast. It was Julian Araujo.
I don't think so. This is the first. This is the first everyone is hearing about this.
Okay.
So, yeah. So for me, I feel like it could be a management thing, but I have no problem with him saying no. Like you don't have to like play. Like, I don't know if it's a Benoit Asu Ikao, as they would say in FIFA, situation where he just hated soccer and never wanted to play. Like he's like, yeah, I don't even know what's going on around the league. I just play because I'm good at it. But I don't know if it's one of those situations.
I think for me, I'm fine with a player saying no to a call-up. What's weird about this is he said he hasn't had contact. Like the contradicting nature of him saying he's had no contact and then U.S. Soccer saying they called him up twice and he said no. That's really what's odd. I don't think he's a huge miss. He's in his late 20s at this point. I think he would be a useful player for the national team, but I don't know how much of an impact he's going to make at a World Cup or anything like that. And so for that reason, I'm not hugely stressed out about it, but it is sort of weird, and it would be nice to have some sort of answers here because it's a really weird situation where a guy is saying one thing and the federation is saying the complete opposite, right? So that's kind of weird. Do you have any issues with that, Matt?
Maybe they have the wrong number.
Very true. Christian, anything else to add?
Yeah, I just want some answers because there's no reason I mean, there might be a reason, but for right now, from our perspective, there's no logical explanation on why he's not playing for us, and it's frustrating.
Yeah, it's really odd. My only thought would be that the Gold Cup, there were MLS matches going on, and September friendlies, there are MLS matches going on as well, and so maybe he's trying to.
Aren't there rules that if you reject a call up, you can't play domestic games?
So I was thinking that exact same thing. I think the federation then has to file something, right? Because if the federation wants to maintain a good relationship, they can say that, okay, they didn't officially call him up or something like that. Maybe they reached out to him and he said, I will decline it. And then it would have created this contentious relationship between the federation and the clubs. I think that's because remember, like there was a situation with Matip, right? Is that what you're thinking of?
Yeah.
Where they claimed he had like a back injury and then they didn't want to play him because he wasn't going to be called up for Cameroon anyways. So I don't really know the answer to that. And I've thought the exact same thing, but it's a weird situation all around.
Yep.
All right. Anything else to add?
Nope.
All right. Last thing we are talking about, upcoming friendlies with the national team are happening. Mexico and Uruguay. We had a 26-man roster called up for the friendlies by the U.S. We have Jesse Gonzalez in goalkeeper. Do you want me to run through the roster? How do we want to approach this, guys? Let's start with the goalkeepers and just see if there's anyone that you feel missed out. So we have Jesse Gonzalez, Brad Guzan, and Zach Steffen, and Sean Johnson. Anyone you missed out or anyone you're surprised at is there, Christian?
I don't know why Brad Guzan continues to be called up. His time has passed, I feel like, for the national team. And Zach Steffen is clearly the number one goalkeeper in the pool. So might as well start to transition into younger goalkeepers.
You don't think there's any value in having some experience there and players that have been there?
I want to get everything out that didn't make the World Cup that can touch our team.
Hard disagree on that one, but okay. Matthew, what do you think about this? Any goalkeepers missing or anyone you have a problem being there?
No, that's perfectly fine with me.
Okay. Yeah, Christian, I disagree. I think that there is still value in players who missed out and the pain that they can communicate and all of that. I think that you learn from missing out. I don't think it's going to infect the rest of the squad and malaise set over by bringing in players that missed out. I think, if anything, they're going to galvanize the rest of the players and make sure that they don't feel the way that he felt. So that's kind of where I stand. But agree to disagree. Defenders, we have John Brooks, Reggie Cannon, Sergino Dest, Nick Lima, Aaron Long, Daniel Lovitz, Tim Ream, Miles Robinson, Walker Zimmerman. Matthew, anyone there that you feel shouldn't be there or that you are surprised at?
Wait, so who's the left back now?
Left back likely is still Tim Ream, backed up by Daniel Lovitz, but Nick Lima and Sergino Dest play left back for their club teams, even though they are right-footed. So it'll be interesting to see what happens, if anything, with that.
Yeah. So I don't know the pool well enough to really – that's the only position that concerns me. I don't know everyone in the pool, but the fact that we don't have a natural left back in America that is good enough to play at the highest level. It makes no sense to me. I'm sure there is one that they are just blackballing, or someone that like you just can't find. Like, what the hell is going on? That's the only problem I have.
All right, fair enough. Christian, any issues with the defenders?
Is Yedlin still not injured, or is he still injured?
Yeah, he's still hurt.
Okay.
And
So
Miazga hurt too, actually. So good call.
who is?
Miazga.
Okay. Yeah, I guess it makes sense to me. I can't stand that Tim Ream is still getting called up, but I guess he is the best option that we have at left back just until we get something to break through. I don't know if Robinson is the answer. I know we've had some issues with him in the past, but maybe he could. I just don't know. I think Tim Ream is clearly a center back that's being forced to play at left back, and he just doesn't look comfortable out there, especially as an attacking option for us. I wish we had something better. And then John Brooks coming back is very, very, very good for us, and I'm very excited to see him there.
Yeah, a couple things. So Chris Gloucester, he was at the U20 World Cup. I think he's probably our left back of the future, up and comer. So he's someone to watch out for. With the Tim Ream situation, I don't think he's asked to be offensive. The way Berhalter's been playing his system, having a left center back basically playing left back is what he's looking for. I wouldn't be shocked, and I know a lot of people have guessed that Aaron Long would be good in that situation. I think it would be cool to see him out there as well, because the U.S. kind of plays that unbalanced sort of formation with your left back more or less playing as a center back. And Tim Ream has been fine. I really don't have too much of an issue with calling him in. I think Gloucester is the center back or the left back of the future. And yeah, the rest of the center backs I'm fine with. I think they're our best. And I really hope Sergino Dest gets some time and we can captain him in the October CONCACAF Nations League. So anything else, Matt, to add here?
Nope.
Christian?
Nope.
Midfielders, we have Sebastian Lletget, Weston McKennie, Alfredo Morales, Paxton Pomykal, Christian Roldan, Will Trapp, and Jackson Ewell. Christian, anyone here that you are surprised at being here, or anyone you feel missed out?
Wait, is Adams not back?
Nope, he's still hurt.
No, this kind of makes sense to me. I don't really have any surprises in this midfield.
So Christian Roldan and Will Trapp, you're still good with calling?
Will Trapp is the only one I'd say. I don't know if I think we need him anymore. But Christian Roldan, he's been playing pretty well. He scored 2 goals again yesterday, so I'm not really surprised he's being called in.
Yeah, I think he's a great MLS player. I just don't know at the national team level if he really fits. So I haven't been impressed.
Well, Nagbe keeps rejecting it, so they got to call somebody in.
All right, fair enough. Matthew, any of the midfielders surprise for you? Anyone you feel missed out?
So Bradley's not in it, right?
Yeah, so Toronto had a bunch of games. It's also why Josie's not on this roster. And Berhalter said it's also why Gonzalez isn't on the roster, which concerns me to a degree. I don't know why he lumped in Omar Gonzalez there. But Bradley's not there because of the Toronto having, I believe, 3 games during this international break.
Okay, so I guess I like that he's not there, because everyone will now get to see that there is basically no other option when we bring him in, and he brings in a lot of experience, and he's not as bad as everyone freaking says. So we don't have a scapegoat now if we don't win a game. So I guess I'm excited for that.
That's a good point. I feel the exact same way. I am someone who still thinks Bradley has a role on this team. I think that he probably isn't a starter, but he provides a lot of value, whether it's off the bench or in training. And yeah, I agree with you on that front. I don't think that he is if we have all 11 players fully healthy, I don't think he's a starter on this team anymore, but he still has value. So yeah, he would be a miss here. I think it's interesting Jackson Ewell got a call up, and I'm interested to see if he gets some time. And also Alfredo Morales. He hasn't been around since the Klinsmann era. 29 years old. I don't know how much of a future he really has with the national team, but it'll be interesting to see how he fits in. Also, I'm excited to see Sebastian Lletget be back with the national team. I think he's been good in his moments when he's played, but he's just been unfortunate with injuries. So I agree with you on all those fronts. Anything else to add on the midfielders before we talk forwards? Matthew, Christian.
No.
Thank you. Lastly, forwards, we have Corey Baird, Tyler Boyd, Jordan Morris, Christian Pulisic, Josh Sargent, and Giassi Zardes. Matthew, surprises and or exclusions on the forward pool?
Well, I guess Way is hurt now.
Way is
right?
hurt. Yep.
So I have no problem, I guess, with this, but I just really hope Giassi doesn't start. Yeah, I don't really have a problem with it, with the people they brought in.
All right, fair enough. Christian?
Can you just repeat it again? I think it broke up on my end when you went through them.
Corey Baird, Tyler Boyd, Jordan Morris, Christian Pulisic, Josh Sargent, Giassi Zardes.
Okay, good. Sargent being in there is huge for us. I saw his goal yesterday. I'm very excited about seeing him play. I can't stand Giassi Zardes, and I want him out of this team. I just think he is absolute trash. He cannot hold the ball up. He is not lethal in front of the goal. I don't understand what they see at him in the international level. Josie is a much better version. Obviously, he's not available right now, but Zardes should not be a part of this team. That's funny. I just want to see Sargent start. I think he's probably the best option that we have right now, in coming into this pool. So that's all I have to say. Sargent has to start.
I think it was huge that he started for Werder. I want to say that was the first time he started for them. It was. Yeah. So it was huge that he started for them because, again, that he's 19 or something like that. Matthew.
And he scored.
Yeah.
So I guess I just blanked out when you said Jordan Morris before too. I don't think he really adds anything to this team.
Corey Baird. Corey Baird is even a level lower than Jordan Morris. So I agree with you on Morris.
I don't even know who Baird is. Yeah. So I'd be excited to see him.
No, he played in the January camp and he got some time and did not do very well. I'm shocked to see him on the roster again. But again, I don't know who you're going to call up in these places with Josie being, tied up with Toronto. I guess these are your best forwards, but I'm not super excited. And then Weah being hurt, I guess these are your best. But I'm excited to see Tyler Boyd again. He sort of flamed out with the Gold Cup. I don't know if it was injury or just tactical decision. Be interested to see him get some time. It would be interesting to see if Pulisic actually plays on the wing and then Josh Sargent to get some time. I do think Zardes starts one of these games. I'm not happy about it. I've said multiple times that I don't think he needs to be called up anymore, but I think he'll get some time. Also, I completely forgot, circling back on the midfielders, Paxton Pomykal, that's a huge call up for the national team. I think he has a really bright future. I'm really excited to see him play. So that was just circling back on the midfielders.
He was the U20 captain, right?
Yeah, McKenzie was technically the captain, but he wasn't healthy. So Pomykal, he was just an all-action center midfielder and someone who I'm really excited to see. And so it'll be interesting to see, getting back to the forwards, if Pulisic actually plays on the wing or if he's going to play as that attacking midfielder again. So again, I'm excited to see how this roster all shakes out. And given all the injuries and all of that, this is probably the best roster that he could have called up. It'll be interesting to see what he then does with it as far as starting lineups are concerned. So anything else you want to add on the roster, Christian?
Yes. Why does it feel like every time we have a roster call up, we have a number of actual starters are out? I feel like other countries, we don't see this as much. But for the U.S., I feel like we never actually have our starting 11 healthy.
Do we follow enough other countries to really know that?
I'm just looking at the big countries. I swear they're always healthy.
I follow every country, so okay. I can back that up.
I swear Spain during their dominant era always had their starters. Other than Torres, maybe every once in a while. They had everyone.
I thought I've thought the same thing, and I just thought we followed the U.S. men's national team at such a level that it feels like it. But I don't know, like Germany with Royce, I feel like he's hurt every so often. I don't know. I feel like other countries deal with injuries too. They just have a much deeper pool, whereas an injury for the U.S. has a much bigger impact.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I think, Matt.
Maybe Argentina has 6 top quality strikers in their pool, where Aguero's always hurt, but it's never really mattered for them.
Yeah,
except they always have Aguero, and he never plays even when he's healthy, which is really stupid.
Okay. Okay. All right. Anything else to add, Matt?
No, I no.
Okay. We haven't had any listener questions this week on Twitter, but I did want to talk to you guys about this. It's kind of circling back on a listener question from before. This past week, Bury and Bolton, 2 clubs in England, had some interesting situations. Bolton came down to the last minute and were ultimately saved, but Bury, a club that we had discussed before, their chairman basically ran them into the ground. They've been expelled from the Football League at this point. Having said that, Ryan Bailey on the Total Soccer Show, which is a great podcast. If you're not listening, you should definitely check them out. But he said that England has too many professional clubs with 92 fully professional teams. He said a lot of other countries, whether it's Spain or Germany, they have 2, maybe 3 professional divisions, and then it sort of falls off. And that's why England has a lot of issues, that they just have too many professional teams. And they really shouldn't have that many fully professional teams. Christian, what do you think about that concept? Do you think that, especially in the modern age, when you have these big clubs that are just soaking up all the media attention, all of the fan sort of interest, do you think that England has too many professional clubs?
No, I don't see why this is a big issue. I don't really understand why that's a problem, having more professional teams.
because it because it all right, Chris is leaving, the door is closed. Okay, that was relatively quiet. Because what happens then is these clubs at the lower end of the professional spectrum can't support themselves, right? They don't have enough fans, they don't have enough merchandise sales, they don't have enough interest from TV contracts and things like that. And if you took away some of the professional teams, made them amateur, and then flooded, maybe the top 2 or 3 divisions with fully professional teams, they could be more stable clubs. Any thoughts on that? Do you agree?
I feel like the top 2 divisions are pretty stable. Bolton isn't even in the top 2 anymore, right?
Yeah,
they were in the 3rd division.
Okay, so no, you disagree.
Yeah, I think it's fine the way it is, and maybe you make the 4th and 5th division not professional, but I just don't see as big of an issue with it. I think it's up to the management to save the clubs. That's what they're there for.
Matt, any thoughts on this?
Well, I mean, money, like financially, it might make sense, but culturally, I mean, I've been to England a couple times. I won't say I know the culture like perfectly, but it seems like they do have a need for like soccer teams in smaller towns. But I'm just saying, like, professionally, if you get relegated from whatever the top or the bottom professional and the top amateur, like how would that really work?
So
with those promotions?
Yeah, and he was touching on it in the podcast, and he said basically the National League, which is the 5th division, they a lot of times still have fully professional teams. So they have more than 92 teams that are professional too, where they're paying players like a certain wage that considers them professional or semi-pro at the very least. And so all it would do would be to basically take the responsibility of the clubs to have to pay players and sort of, alleviate that. So that's kind of what his thought process was.
Nice.
Okay.
As Dave was talking there, so from last week until this week, StreamYard, where we are recording this, I didn't have a button to look at live comments last week, and I do this week, and now I'm reading all of Sal's comments, and I was like, oh, wow. I never got to read these before, but now I can. So I was just reading them.
Okay. Cool. All right. Thanks for joining us, Sal. And speaking of Sal, he's kind of chiming in with having teams at the lower level of the pyramid have to function more like true clubs, the way Latin American clubs or Bundesliga clubs function. And those come with their own sets of issues and risks. You see teams in Germany are trying to, especially at the top end of the spectrum, I was just reading about Hanover, and Bayern, they're a club kind of like this, where they can't compete with the likes of Man City because they're kind of hamstrung by these clubs and by these rules where the fans have to own the majority. And so there's no one perfect system. I think, there is no one perfect system. I think that there needs to be controls and things put in place to keep, irresponsible people put in checks. And so whether that, fan-owned clubs or, single-owned, clubs or some sort of hybrid among the two. And so I don't think there is one great answer. So, Christian, anything else you want to add?
Nope.
Matthew.
Do we want like every team, like would you like more parity in soccer, or do you think soccer is great because of the top end talent, like where that the teams are going to be good and like the occasional Cinderella story, or would you think the world would prefer, more teams being able to compete with,
I think it differs. So I think it depends on the culture. I think in Europe, I think it's nice to have, the dominant story and a Cinderella getting a win against Manchester United back in 1993, and that's what their fans sort of cling to. But I also like the American model where the Philadelphia Union have not been very good through our first 9 years of existence. And this year, because there is parity in the league, the team is able to rise up and really be competing at the top of the conference. And so I like that there are different models out there, and depending on league, I can sort of pick and choose. So my preference as a fan, is probably the parity model, because I know at some point in the future, my team can compete. If I didn't support Liverpool, if I supported a team like Fulham or something like that, I know we have a friend, Christian Sandler.
Burn Seabass.
Who made that decision a number of years ago. I think it would be really tough being a fan of that, and kind of more or less knowing my team is never really going to compete for a trophy except for one sort of fluke year. And so or a billionaire buys my team and pumps a ton of money into it. So I kind of like the parity model if you're forcing me to choose. Christian?
Well, Fulham also made the Europa League final a couple of years ago, and I don't really consider that a fluke. They spent years trying to build themselves up, and then Leicester, obviously, I guess you can call that a fluke, but it happens in the leagues. I don't really think it's. I prefer specifically to support Liverpool, obviously, because they are a team that can compete, and I like the models of having like the elite teams, and you know what you're going to get every year with them. And there are teams that are going to surprise them every once in a while, and that's always fun to watch for me, specifically with Liverpool's rivals, to watch them lose.
So you prefer the elite and Cinderella stories to elite?
Yes. Yep.
What if you were born in Bolton?
I don't know.
And
we're going to play that game?
I don't know what I would think.
Okay, fair enough. Matt, what you didn't answer, you just asked the question. What would you prefer, parity or elite?
I think it's because there's so many teams. I think I like the elite because it would be just like madness if there was so much parity and there was like imagine 100 teams that could win the Champions League because of parity. I don't know. For me, soccer, if it was one league, I would understand it more like American sports. But I mean, we only have one league with like these amount of cities. Like there's not too much to follow. Whereas I feel like in Europe it would be too much to follow.
So you're saying parity across all of Europe, or are you saying parity in like the Premier
because
League?
you were saying how like Bayern can't compete or like Hanover can't compete with like a Man City. Like would it be better if anybody could compete with them?
Got it. I was more talking about that from the ownership structure, but yeah, I guess from a competition perspective, I don't know. Yeah, with Europe having so many teams, I think it would be a little bit of chaos. So, I mean, in Europe, they kind of have parity by only having probably 10 or 15 clubs that can win the Champions League, right? And so, they kind of have that. There's not one team that's definitely going to win. And that's how it's kind of kept.
And I mean, it happens every once in a while. Like Porto won like 15 years ago, which was surprising and against all odds. So it still happens. It's just more rare.
Could have theoretically,
Yeah. I mean, Tottenham made the final, and that's probably a team you wouldn't really say we're going to make it early on in the season. They're an underdog as well.
Yeah, I keep saying Ajax made the final. I've said it multiple times this podcast. I completely forgot.
I think they made the final too.
Yeah, I completely forgot that it was Tottenham in the final. My apologies. If I know we have Spurs fans that listen, so my fault there. I completely forgot. I thought that it was Ajax in the final, but still, Ajax had a fantastic run. And Christian, you're right. Yeah, there are these other situations, but if I'm talking about a league specific that I am following, whether it's Premier League or whether it's MLS or something like that, I think if you're asking me to choose between elite and parity, I'm going to choose parity. But if you're talking about Champions League, where there's like hundreds of teams available for the competition, I think
with the promotion and relegation in England, it wouldn't work either because there's 92 professional teams, like we just talked about. There's just too many.
Yes.
Because I just think it can't work there. And you just prefer to watch MLS.
I prefer to support MLS, like the team. Yeah, my team that I.
Well, yeah, I'm not specifically watch for the quality. I guess that's.
Yeah. Although actually, so speaking of which, I was at the Portland game this weekend. It was fantastic. I don't go to too many games live in person anymore. Just being in San Jose, I like to watch the Union on TV. But the whole culture here in Portland was fantastic. It's very European. Everybody kind of walks to the stadium, downtown stadium. Stadium feels very old school, not corporate. It felt like kind of Selhurst Park, where we went to Selhurst Park. It felt that way. I mean, this was, I think, bigger than Selhurst Park, but just a cool atmosphere. The fans were passionate throughout. The quality of play was really good too, very intense. So it was overall a really good experience. So highly recommend anyone, if you get a chance, to get out to a Portland game. And tickets were reasonable too. So it was very, very cool. So Christian, do you have our trivia question?
I do. So the trivia question this week is, which of these three players has the most goals and assists in their first 50 appearances? Zlatan Ibrahimovic, Josef Martinez, or who was the last one? Carlos Vela. And I'm going to go to Matt first here.
So I'm going to guess it's not Vela since Christian forgot. So I'm going to say...
No, I honestly just forgot who the options were, and that's embarrassing. I just didn't pull up the picture. What's up?
I'm going to say Martinez.
Do you want to guess how many he had in his first 50 appearances?
goals plus assists. I don't know. Like he scored a shit ton. So I don't know, like 38.
Okay. Dave?
Goals plus assists?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to say like 65. And I'm going to say Martinez as well. And then I'm going to say Vela second, Zlatan third.
All right, so in the first 50 games, we've got Carlos Vela with 54 goals and assists. Got Josef Martinez with 54 goals and assists. Zlatan Ibrahimovic with 55 goals and assists.
Oh.
They are that close in 50 games, their first 50 games, which is really crazy.
Fun. All right. So that was lots of fun. I'm sure Sal will enjoy that because I know he's a Galaxy fan. So thank you for joining us here. Listeners, thank you so much for being here listening to the podcast. If you liked what we did here, please leave us a review on iTunes. It really, really helps us out. 5 stars and a written review. It only takes a minute or so. It's super easy to do, and it truly helps us out. So please consider doing that. Matthew, do you want to tell people about our website and where they can find us on Twitter?
Oh, yeah, I do. So our website is www.brostalkingsoccer.com. There you can read so many great facts about the men we once were. With a little bit of a bio. You can find past episodes. There's a link to our store where you can buy our sweet merchandise like this swagged out shirt. The sun is setting here, so I was much lighter when the show. Yeah. I was definitely lighter earlier, but you can buy that cool shirt or the one Christian's wearing. There's also an Amazon store link, no additional cost to you. You just click on that link, do your typical Amazon shopping, about one extra step, and it'll really help support the show. Twitter @BT Soccer Pod.
And you can buy us a
you can also buy us a shot, where if you're feeling real generous, it would be $3 per shot. It really helps us support the show. This is Dave's life, and he really needs it. Please help Dave.
So that's probably the best ploy we can have. I appreciate that. Christian, do you want to tell people about our Slack channel?
Yeah, so join us on Slack. It's pretty much a big group chat where we have a couple of listeners, actually a bunch of listeners at this point, and we've got me and Dave in there. Matt is also in there, but never active. And we just talk about all the different channels which are in there, which are different topics. And you got the top five European leagues. You got MLS, Liga MX, international soccer, transfer rumors, everything. We got a general category where you could just talk about anything you want in your life. It's just open for anyone, and people will respond to you. It's really fun. If you want to join it, tweet at us at BTSoccerPod or email us at bros.talking.soccer@gmail.com, and we'll get you involved in our Slack network.
Yes, so please do that. And as much as accurate as Matt was with this being my life, I do have some other things going on. So if you are someone who has app coding skills, specifically iOS, please reach out. I am working on a fantasy soccer app I've been working on for quite some time and would love to chat with you. I'm looking for a partner and would love to chat. And also, for those longtime listeners might remember the Soccer Tavern YouTube channel. We are starting that back up again. I got some exciting projects I'm working on that front. We're going to be doing some smaller American clubs, doing the club histories for them. And so I've been working with them. And then we're also going to do some Bundesliga clubs. So check out the Soccer Tavern on YouTube we're discussing the history, culture, and philosophy of the beautiful game. So we have tons of videos on there. I think it's like 170 or so different videos. And check it out. It's awesome. And thank you again so much for being here, listeners. Christian, final words?
It was just an honor. I'm just so happy I was here.
Matthew, final words?
For just $3, you can save Dave's life.
Thank you so much, listeners. We appreciate it. I hope everybody has a great week. We'll be back with another podcast next weekend. In the meantime, we will have some quick fix videos this week. Have a great week, and we will talk to you soon. See everybody. And Sal, thank you so much for being here and interacting with us. It is always a ton of fun, and now I'm glad that Matt can see the comments from you as well. So, Matt, that was a fantastic closing. So that's
the podcast name. I don't care what anyone says. Yeah. That's what it is.
You can save Dave's life. All right, see everybody.
Bye.